we are headed towards subjugation. And I know that off of looking at the last 4,000 years of human history. That's just what happens to a society after 250 years of being in power.
The news has become a big giant opinion. And then, you ask, hey, am I wrong? Well, half the people will say you're wrong and half the people will say you're right, even though you're wrong or even though you're right. It doesn't matter. It seems as if we have been so divided as a country. You are an independent thinker. You're a critical thinker. Over the years, I have observed how many people will blindly jump on sides based solely on political party, socioeconomic status, or the influencers that they follow. Most of this is happening without people doing their own research or drawing their own conclusions. Nobody thinks for themselves anymore. Where are we headed, Chad?
The spring is wound really tight right now. The pendulum is about as far to one side as it can go. It's either going to swing back or the clock's going to break. We're truly at a sociological, critical, political, philosophical, metaphysical. We're at a breaking point. We really are. So I said 25 years ago to a group of people, when I would have the opportunity to get on a stage and speak to people, because I made a living as a motivational guy. I said, we're entering into this age of postmodernism. It's here, and postmodernism, even the experts on postmodernism cannot explain to us or define to us what postmodernism is. In a nutshell, it's whatever your reality needs to be is what it can be. So now we have certain phrases like my truth and your truth instead of objective truth. And I can feel like a woman and therefore I am a woman. Doesn't matter what genitals I was born with. I heard somebody the other day talking about they weren't going to have a gender reveal party. They were going to have a genital reveal party because the child had not determined. They were going to wait and see what their unborn baby decided its sex was. That's the essence of living in a postmodern society. It's where feelings trump facts. My emotions are king. We've been conditioned that way. I don't want to think about it. So where we're headed is subjugation. If we don't turn this tide back, we're headed to subjugation. So look at it like this. The economy is already in the tank. We've already spent well over $100 billion in Ukraine fighting somebody else's war. Regardless of what anybody's feelings are on that thing's gotten way out of hand a long time ago. People can't afford their own groceries, but yet we're going to give, a country that's historically been a money laundering country for our own corrupt government officials, we're going to give them hundreds of billions of dollars to fight their war that really doesn't have an effect on us. Then we're going to blame inflation on the invading armies, such as a dictator like Vladimir Putin. And we're devaluing the dollar. The dollar is worthless now. It has been the global currency, but because of our import we're giving Russia and all these different things that we're giving them the power to do, they're sending all of their resources to China, empowering China, devaluing the dollar even further. So it's going to get to a point where we have no choice but to be subjugated, right? We're going to wind up subjugated to some, whether it's a foreign power or some form of philosophy like the World Economic Forum or the World Health Organization or the United Nations. You can pick your cabal at this point. We're already subjugated. When Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and some of these others came out a couple of years ago with this idea called the Green New Deal, we laughed at it because it was so stupid. It was just so stupid. How are we going to have an infrastructure rebuilding plan for the United States of America that's going to have a price tag of $91 trillion? I mean, that amount of money doesn't exist on the globe. So how are we going to do that? They do it by what we're seeing now. There's no such thing as debt. There's no such thing as deficit. They're getting away from a credit score. They're getting away from something that's backed by gold or silver or precious metals. And they're moving to a cashless society. It's a credit-based system, but it's not a credit-based system based on the merits of how you have handled yourself fiscally or your investments economically, but on your social justice scores. So now we have what's called modern monetary theory that says, forget all of that. Let's just determine what somebody is worth based on how they view the world as we interpret it. So, have you said anything racist? Have you said anything misogynistic, bigoted, xenophobic? Have you said anything homophobic? Have you posted anything that could be misconstrued on social media? Well, then we're going to dock you for that. You don't have the ability to go out and barter and trade that you used to have. How are you treating the planet? Are there solar panels on your home? Are you driving an electric car? Are you banning fossil fuels? What is your carbon footprint? How are you running your business? Are there enough minority hires? Are there diversity hires? Are there inclusion hires? Or do you have trans people working for you? Or is the LGBTQ 2+ whatever community being represented in your business? If not, well, then we're going to dock you. And people say, well, that would never happen. Well, our major corporations are already doing it. They're already doing it. And, people are calling that being woke. And what I call that is insanity, because we can't hold up under that. These companies, they don't care. They don't care. They're going to operate by this modern monetary theory, the ESG scores, things like that. If we don't overcome that with common sense and inconvenience ourselves a little bit, both with critical thinking, how we spend our money, the people that we do business with, and so on and so forth, the people we listen to, then we will be subjugated.
This is the Today with Tally podcast.